Welcome, welcome. This is my spirit log number 9, I believe, and I'm continuing with the 100-day project challenge, which is basically to do something creative that you want to practice and basically practice it for 100 days, like do some of it every day for 100 days. And I'm definitely more impressed with anyone who manages to do this every day. But in the meantime, I'm doing most days, and hopefully I'll catch up at some point. I'm kind of excited to find a day where I can have more than one interesting video in me to give. I don't think today's that day, however. So what I'm sharing today is that a little while ago, I decided that I really wanted to build my community and learn some new things and find some people who were interested in the same things I was all at the same time. So I started a small group called the Women's Tea Friendly, and I love this group so much. And so in fact, some of the spirit log entries will not be under spirit log. They're going to be the tea friendly stuff instead, but probably just a couple because we only really meet once a month. And the thing that I've discovered is that right now, I don't actually have the energy that it takes to get people really excited about that group. I think they're happy to know it's happening. They are interested in those topics, and they'd love to come, but not if it competes with anything else that's going on that they're already committed to. And I definitely understand that, but I also understand that basically what that means is that it's up to me to make the group enough of a priority that people might actually reschedule things or go out of their way a little bit in order to participate. And life happens, and I definitely don't hold this against anyone that the group has sort of dwindled out at this point. But what I'm doing is choosing to see that as an opportunity to turn it into something for YouTube practice, because we actually have topics that we have laid out, and I can't actually find where I put the list, the order of what would happen each month. Maybe it's even in an email. But I do have the original list of topics. And so at some point I'll figure out what May's topic was going to be, and I'm going to make a video about it. So it'll be a great way for me to still be inspired to maybe learn a little bit more or put old lessons into practice, old learning into practice, and to still share that information in a way that it's accessible with whoever at whatever point. Oh, that's Rosemary. Yes, good girl, Mama. Yes, that's Rosemary. She's so beautiful. Such a pretty kitty. Yeah. So she actually was the first cat that we rescued. As soon as she came to my yard, I started seeing her going after the birds that I feed in the backyard, and she was just terribly, terribly skin and bones. Well, she was skin and bones. It wasn't as bad as actually another cat that came later, but skin and bones. So I started feeding her, and as soon as I started feeding her, she got a mommy bump. And turned out she was pregnant, and so then we had to do this whole thing where she was actually so scared of people at that point, had just been betrayed so badly, that she would not come near the food bowl or any sort of a trap device or anything for about an hour after I would put it out. And so she actually had her kittens before she was capturable. And then we had to wait until we knew where the kittens were. So it was this whole process. But anyway, she's with us now, and we just love her. And she's so Siamese. She tells stories. She talks about her day. She complains about things. She has a very specific schedule that she would like us to be following, and she lets us know when that's not happening the way she wants it to. But she's also a total sweetheart, and even though she's like 5 years old already and we've only had her for a year or two, it's pretty clear that she was somebody's baby long ago and far away at some point in her life. So I'm really glad she's our baby now. And anyway, long story, got distracted. So some of the topics that we haven't covered in the women's circle yet include kitchen medicine, seasonal cooking, food preservation and seed saving. Oh, look, I'm giving you the crazy side of my hair. It's been a hat day, very much a hat day today. Yep. Growing backyard veggies and herbs. We talked about that a little bit at the last meeting. I actually have, I don't know if you heard that, but we have elephants in the house and they go glump, glump, glump all the way through. And back again, apparently. I actually have quite a few books on gardening, and there's actually a lot of styles of gardening out there that I hadn't really thought about them all together because I'm usually doing research on some specific thing. But what I'm really excited about right now is forest gardening, which is a version of permaculture that really looks at having layers of growth all together in such a way that really you don't have to do a whole lot of weeding. You don't have to do a whole lot of protecting the plants from bugs and other predators, because everything is grown together in a more natural way. And it really does look natural when you see the forest gardens that are out there. It just looks like it's a forest. So the fact that it's a food forest is really cool. And yeah, someday I would love to have some space that's doing that, because it's so super productive and fairly low maintenance once it gets established. And yeah, those two things together sound really good. Let's see, composting and recycling. In World War II, we had food rationing, and a lot of other limited resources. And so people got really good at finding uses for things that they just had around that they couldn't get what they were used to having to do that thing. And I really think that that is becoming a lost art. We no longer figure out how to solve our problems with what we have lying around, or how to use what we already have a lot of the most effectively because it's there already. Instead, we go and buy the exact same thing that we want in the moment that we want it. And it's a consumer culture thing. And I'm glad we have access to those resources so we can get the perfect thing at the perfect moment. But to me, consumer culture means that we're also throwing a lot of really useful things away. And we don't really have room for all that garbage and waste, because it's not garbage. It's just stuff that we're not using. And there's a difference there. And I don't recommend that people start hoarding, but I do think that it would be neat to really have a better understanding of how to fully utilize the stuff that's right in front of me. And so we talked about that. I think that's something we put off for maybe next year because we had more ideas than we did years, but I'm still interested in that. Candle making, we already did that one. Making blessing bundles. So in the Native American traditions, some groups have prayer bundles, and some groups have blessing baskets and things like that. And I think those are very specific spiritual and cultural traditions. And while I've been taught those by my Native American drum teacher, who's from a local tribe, and he taught us his traditions, and I love those traditions, I don't feel like I can claim to be a teacher of those things. I just feel like there's something that now I have the opportunity to utilize or to share what was taught to me. And what I've done even before I learned that specific, beautiful, traditional way, I made little fabric bundles full of specific, energy specific or intention specific items to really encourage a shift in the energy or in the outcome for a specific person, for a specific situation. And it's similar to a prayer bundle. And so anyway, I was going to share both the way that I do that and the way that my teacher had taught me was a local traditional way. And I thought that sounded good. Emergency preparedness, we actually already did that. I created an Evernote page with a whole lot of really awesome local resources on emergency preparedness. But the two things that several people got really excited about that were on the list that they wanted to have happen repeatedly are a drum circle with a potluck, like a healing drum circle, which I've participated in those for years, and I've actually led one for a year or two with a group of women. That was just amazing, and I miss it. So I'm pretty excited that they were also thrilled about the idea of doing that, perhaps quarterly. And game nights. Like, it turns out there are a lot of us out there who love like playing card games or board games or just playing old-fashioned games around a table with a group of people who are out there to have fun. And a couple of my friends, it turns out, are really competitive when you do that kind of thing, which just made me laugh because I had no idea. They're such sweethearts the rest of the time. So anyway, I'm excited to see what next month's Women's Circle is going to be about and to gather resources and information and to share that here in a video. And so I'm today basically just letting you know that that's coming up and that that will be part of my 100 Days project at this point, part of the Spirit Log, sort of, but its own special thing, since I want those to be easy to find and you don't want to scroll through 30 days of me talking about other random stuff in order to find the stuff that is part of what you signed up for the group. Oh, and just while I'm here, another thing that I actually am starting to do again weekly that I used to offer is an email that I send out. I call it the Tuesday to Do, and the whole point of that email was to look at themes that have been going on within the healing community and within the community of my clients, for example, back when I was life coaching and doing clairvoyant, clairaudient, clairsentient kind of work more frequently, so that people could benefit, could recognize that they weren't alone in what they were finding challenging or exciting about the week, and also because I think that every story matters and that there are such thing as healing stories. And a healing story is basically a story that you recognize yourself in, even though it's not about you. That's what a lot of our fairy tales are. They're stories that we identify with on some level, either the suffering that somebody is going through or the challenges that they're facing or the way that they're choosing to face a challenge and the way that they come through that. And I think that when we share these stories without saying, oh, hey, so-and-so is having this problem right now, that's gossip. That's not what I'm talking about. But when I say, hey, I know a lot of people this week who feel like things are shifting and they may not have finished changing yet, but good things are coming. And so many of us are starting to feel that right now. And it's really exciting. Or another version of this is so many of us actually forgot that it was Easter on Sunday. Like, it just didn't feel like the holiday that we're used to celebrating. And that was interesting to me. I don't really know why. I don't have anything more to say about that, except that has become a theme that I'm noticing with several people, and I find it interesting. And so, hey, if that happened to you, you're not alone. And if that did not happen to you, that's awesome. Yeah, so with that, I'm really glad to have had my video time, my face-to-face time with you today, and I look forward to talking with you again soon. Be well.